Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the third conversation, a part of National Black Theater's holistic producing approach for our full season. And our full season, as many of you may know, is the alchemy of return. Remembering is a radical act. And all season long, we are taking the time to really think about how we need to remember who we are and remember what the medicines of our history and of our legacy can be to actually think about what a future possibility can look like. So we thought of no other person to bring onto the stage to help us to think this through than no other than Jordan E. Cooper. Where we'll be having a conversation, a discourse, really thinking about, reflecting on the roots of where his journey has come from and how those roots have propelled a future that we all are basking in, a future that we all can participate in, a future that we all need to be a part of. That we are collectively working in a modality together, and how this brother, this man, this vessel, this artistic maverick has been stitching a quilt to his own North Star that really has become a collective North Star, inspiring a whole generation of theatrical people to be reinvested in the stories that we tell. So without further ado, I want to bring on Jordan E. Cooper.
Hey! Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. So honored.
Oh no, we love you. We love you. We love you. I mean, it's like, brother, we see each other in these streets. We've seen each other for many, like almost it feels like a decade.
Literally.
Literally. And to witness you excel in the ways you have has been quite lovely. Do you mind just number one, just talking about, I'm just going to deep dive in because people can read your bio. But what about, like, can you just talk about the beginning roots? What are the beginning roots of Jordan E. Cooper? And also thinking about those beginning roots in relationship to National Black Theater.
Yeah, so I've been writing plays since I was like 6 years old. I used to cut up my mama's weave in my dad's work uniform and put on shows in the living room. And then they moved to the backyard, and then they moved to the church. And I used to get in trouble because I used to be known for putting like whatever the church business was or the church gossip, I would be putting it in the church plays. And they would just be looking at my mama like, if you don't tell that boy to stop doing And now I'm older, and I feel like in some ways I still find myself saying the thing in the work that most people don't feel comfortable being said out loud. But it's like we say it, so why not? And yeah, it's just grown. It's taken me from like working with local theater organizations in Texas, from Jubilee Theater to DVA Productions with Sharon Goodspeed Keaton, and those things just really grew me as an artist. And then I came out to New York after senior year to the New School for Performing Arts, majoring in playwriting and acting. And what's crazy is I believe that was my freshman year. My very first audition happened at National Black Theater, Kill Move Paradise by James Irons. That was my very first New York City audition. So it's so MBT just has a really rich spot in my heart, specifically because I come from a Black theater in Fort Worth, Texas with Jubilee Theater. So immediately stepping into MBT, it felt like somebody was saying we could take it from here. It felt like somebody was welcoming me in and said, no, there's a place for you here too, because sometimes you get here and it's New York is so big and so white and so, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, I don't know how I fit into this theater lexicon. And so it's so beautiful to like walk into that space. And I'm so excited to enter this new building, but like just to even walk into that space and feel the immediacy of like being home, the immediacy of being cared for and seen, and a legacy to carry on. It's just a gift. It's just a gift. And I'm just so proud of the work that y'all have been doing to carry on Dr. Barbara Antier's legacy.
Yeah. Do you mind talking about, because you talked about legacy a lot. Do you mind talking about the legacy that Jordan carries and how Jordan has utilized that legacy to build the infrastructure for the creative life, the entrepreneurial life, the CEO boss life that you now have?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I'm a gumbo of so many people that I've admired, and how they move through the world, whether it be somebody like a Lucille Ball, whether it be a Stephen Sondheim, whether it be August Wilson, whether it be a Tyler Perry, whether it be a David E. Talbert or a Shelley Garrett or a Jacarius Johnson, or a Pearl Clage. Like there's so many people who make up my gumbo, and I think what I love the most about when I was a kid, the very first introduction that I had to theater was like Chitlin Circuit Theater. It was like the Black theater that is not going to be produced in a season somewhere around the country. You know what I mean? It was the Black theater that was like, you had to be there for that moment, right? And I think why I love that was my introduction, my entry point into theater before I got into the Shakespeares and the Molières and the you know the Arthur Millers and all of them, is because my entry point told me that I could be liberated. My entry point told me that there were no rules. My entry point said I could be Black as ever, and I don't have to put whiteness at the forefront of my mind and dilute myself into something that they can eat. It's like, no, if you're going to choke, you're going to choke, right? So I think that I've carried that with me in everything that I do. Of like, one, how to make work accessible, not just in terms of material, but also in terms of space, in terms of letting people know from the moment that they enter the space that this is your space, that this belongs to you. I think I carry so much of that because I feel like sometimes you got into these traditional American theater streets and it's the ghetto. It's the ghetto. Oh my gosh. It's it's like the way that they treat people, the way that they hold themselves, and the way that they regard themselves, and the way that sometimes they regard work that has nothing to say. It reminds me that I come from a place where we say the thing and feelings be damned. And I think I carry that with me, and everything that I do is like, say the thing, people be damned, you know.
Totally down for all of that. Say the thing and people be damned. I was wondering if you can just name for me, what does liberation mean to you? But then also this notion, because you kind of hit on it. What is it? What is the thing that Jordan as an artist is trying to solve? Like, I feel like you're trying to solve, and all the work that I've seen of yours, I feel like you're this idea of community, this idea of choking and be damned. Do you just mind talking about like that mission statement, that thing that you're giving as an offering, palms open, and saying, take as you want, receive as you want, but it's not I'm not forcing it on you, but it is me and my truth.
Yeah, it really, for me, it's about, it always starts with questions. It never starts from like, I always say, I'm not Jesus with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. I'm trying to eat too. So it's like, I'm never coming from a place of like, I was talking with a mentor of mine yesterday, a playwriting mentor, and she said this thing that I thought was so brilliant. She was like, you know, as artists, as playwrights, it's our job to put 2 + 2 on the stage, right? And let the audience figure it out. Nowadays, a lot of people just put the number 4 on stage. And I feel like, to me, that is the work. It's starting from a question and seeing if we can solve it together, because it's always like, it's not on me to solve, it's on us to solve. So what is the solution to this proposition? What is the solution to these questions on stage? And the fact that theater is a place where we're asking each other to be in the moment is so rich, because the people that you're sitting next to in a theater, you will never sit next to that person in this building with these same people surrounded by y'all ever again in life. This is a singular moment in existence. And in the singular moment in existence, we get to together take a problem on the stage and find a solution over the course of these 90 minutes, or over the course of these 2.5 hours. And that, oh, that's so human. It's just so, I love it. I love it. It's just so beautiful. And it is liberating, because it's forcing us to do something that we can't do here. We can't do on the phones. We can't do on social media. It forces us to be together and trapped in a space in the dark, and witnessing something. And hopefully, if it's the kind of work that asks something of you, we're being asked of. We're not just like taking off our thinking caps and just sitting down after a long day. It's like, I could be at the house and put on Netflix and put on some music or whatever. But when I come to the theater, what is being asked of me? You know? And
now, go
yeah.
ahead. No, come on, go ahead.
No, you go.
No. My question is, like, like thinking about the velocity, like every aspect, that you hold so many verticals. And I know you talked about theater, and I know theater is your passion, but you hold so many verticals. What has been one of your biggest challenges in holding those many verticals, or even accessing those amount of verticals, from TV to from TV to theater, to being a producer, to being an entrepreneur, and all the various different facets that you hold to show up? What has been your biggest challenge in meeting all of those different verticals that you hold? And what has been, and can you zero in on what is possibly your number one like the thing that you hold and cherish at the end of the day when you fall asleep?
I think the challenge has always been, and this is something that I just had to recognize within myself and with spirit, that is just a part of the journey for me, is that every step of the way there has been a no. Every step of the way there has been an I don't get it, or we don't do that here, or that's not how TV works, or that's not how theater works. So that's like, I ain't gonna name no names, but before Animal first got produced, like there were theaters like these fancy theaters that literally would write back and be like, this is not a play. You know, we don't know what this is. This is not a play. With the Miss Pat show, that was a show that got turned down so many times before we finally heard a yes. We shot a pilot and everything, and then we got dropped because it was too black. Literally, because it was too black, right? So there were things that always met me with like, are you gonna stop here? Are you gonna stop here? And then having to push through. And I think I have to remind myself of that, even, you know, as I continue, is like, it always starts with something. And I think that's how you know you're doing something, because it always starts with that hasn't been done, so we can't do it. And so I feel like I've come across that in every single medium. And then those are the moments where I have to ask myself to trust that 6-year-old, that 7-year-old, that 8-year-old who was doing those plays in that living room, who, you know, was making it do by any means necessary. Or when I first moved to New York, I would be handing out flyers in Times Squares for my plays that I would be doing in basements or in classrooms, and I would be on the subways handing out flyers. And there was something about that I thought, I made the mistake of thinking that, specifically with Ain't No More, I made the mistake of thinking on Broadway. I made the mistake of thinking that, like, oh, now I'm at a level where we're doing Broadway, so now I could just focus on the food being good. I could just focus on the work being good and making sure that people have a great experience when they enter the door. Absolutely not, because it's not built for you. It's not built for you. So like the people that you need to reach, they don't know how to reach them people. They know how to reach, you know, the people who want to see chess. They don't know how to, you know what I mean? That's a very specific, and I realized that this is my biggest takeaway, like, is that you got to work just as hard on the mountain as you do in the valley. Like, there is no, you can't change the recipe. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to change how you do the recipe because the altitude is different. Like, you can't bake cookies the same way in Texas that you do in Colorado because it's a different altitude. So you have to think differently. Or how you drink, you have to drink differently because it's going to hit you differently. So there are ways that you can still put the cookies in the oven, but you just got to bake them a little bit different. But I thought that I could rely on a system that was not built for me. I thought that I could rely on, oh, yes, of course they're going to put billboards on 125th and Lenox. Of course they're going to put billboards in Flatbush. And what's crazy is I literally was told in a marketing meeting that we don't do billboards for plays, right? Which I'm like, I've lived in New York for 12. What are you telling me you don't do billboards for plays? They're like, oh, yeah, it's usually. And I can't tell you how many times I live in a black ass neighborhood. I can't tell you how many times I have gone to the subway and I've seen the advertisements for the whitest shows you've ever want to see. And I'm like, what makes y'all think that the people in this neighborhood, they don't want to go? What? But then the black stuff don't get billboards here. They don't get advertisements here. So I'm like, something ain't. And I'm like, I always say, the same way that the American government knows where to put a liquor store in a black neighborhood, we have to know where to put advertisements in a black neighborhood, right? And we also have to learn to work outside of that the commercial theater is not the end all be all. As a matter of fact, what feeds the commercial theater is basement theater, because that's where artists are crafted. That's where the artist that can eventually go on to write or produce or act in the thing that will make $2 million at the box office, right? But what happens when we're not investing in these theater artists? I feel so sorry for a lot of the kids who are like out in these conservatories right now, because if you were to look at just commercial theater, you would think, well, am I going to school for? They don't
Mm,
want me. They want so and so who has 3 Oscars. They want so and so who has a hit TV show. They want so and so, and it's starting to create this gap between the people who were made to sing this song and the people who have to learn the song and sing 8 bars in this room they about to walk into. You know what I mean?
yes.
So I think that, spaces like MBT are so important too, because it's like, this is where we are nourished. This is where we are fed. This
Mm,
is, you know what I mean? This is this, like, I can't imagine a world without our nourishment as
yeah,
theater artists, as
yeah,
artists
yeah.
in general who go out into the world and do whatever and whatever, you know what I mean? But it's like, these are the spaces where we get to um be liberated in the sense of like how I think of liberation in work. I think of liberation in work is sans and I don't mean whiteness as far as white people, you know what I mean, but like
Yeah,
sans
no,
white,
no.
like sans like white construct, sans like what are they gonna think and how are they gonna receive it? And do they
Yeah.
get this reference and do they understand that? And that's one thing that I'm really grateful that I have never sat down and thought about not writing something because of whiteness.
Yeah, yeah,
I've never like,
yeah.
that's not even like a,
And that construct is so violent and so very real that it actually divorces people of their power. It takes
oh
them,
my gosh.
it takes, and ultimately it robs us of a humanistic opportunity to evolve collectively.
Mm-hmm.
About it, and just want to double down on the notion that you're not talking about a human. You're
Right.
talking about a cultural mindset. You're
Yep.
talking about a systematic perspective and approach to living, not
Yep.
just about business, not just about how we exchange goods, but how we live as a vertical of living. And what you're naming inside of that is that what does it look like to live outside of the burning building? because
Hello.
because it is a burning building.
Oh
If we
my
look
gosh.
at the structures that are at play right now, it is literally a burning building. My next question that I want to uplift and talk to is around collaboration. I mean, how collaboration has been such a deep aspect of your stewardship, especially in theater. A
Mhm.
big shout out to Stevie Walker Webb.
Yeah.
But who are those collaborators that you work with? Why do you work with them? What does it mean to find that, as folks who are burgeoning artists are seeking to figure out, well, what does it mean to be loyal? What does it
Mm-hmm.
what does it mean to build a language with somebody? Do you mind just
Mm-hmm.
speaking to collaboration and what loyalty inside that collaboration and building that language? What does that mean, and how that has been a medicine for you in your creative process?
Absolutely. Specifically, even when it comes to Stevie, I always call her my story doula. And as a doula, you can't have everybody in that room with you. You know what I mean? You can't have everybody in that room with you. And so it's it's such a beautiful part, specifically also theater, because the fun part, I would say the fun part is not me in my office by myself listening to these characters. It's like, yes, I'm listening to them and I'm transcribing everything that they're saying, but the fun part is when I get to actually give it to other people and be like, am I crazy? Like, do you see this too? Like, do you hear this? And it's my favorite part of the process, because when you put the right actors in the space, there are actors that I'll always work with, like Ebony Marshall Oliver is one. You know what I mean? Like people who's known me since I was 14 years old. There are certain people who you just you find community in, and when you find community in, real community holds you accountable, right? Real community is not like, yes, oh my gosh, everything is amazing. This is brilliant. This is and I feel like sometimes that's what artists want to hear. Sometimes artists want to hear like, oh, pop it out the microwave. Oh, it's brilliant. And I think that the real reward comes from the crock pot. The real reward comes from making sure the meat is tender. It comes from the people in your circle, your community, your collaborators saying, that's not, I know what you're saying. That's not what you're saying right here on this page. It comes from, yeah, I feel this, but I think you're missing this plot right here, or these characters don't make
Mhm.
sense, or this is, or let's talk about what you meant when you said that. That is the that is the like gift of creating, especially when you have the right people to do it for you, because I think the biggest fear is that, and I see it often with like playwrights that I love and admire. Sometimes I'll go see stuff and I'll be like, what is that? What was that? And I'm like, where are your friends? Where are
Yeah,
your friends? Where's your community? Where are
yeah.
the people who were gonna tell you, baby, you need another draft? You need, like I really hope that people don't shy away from that, because I think that through that you get the through the process of rigor, you get the product to not only be a gift in itself and a reward in itself, but then the process that you took to like go through that fire to make the gold is also one to cherish and to carry on in every experience that you have beyond. Um, because I feel like when you create like that, you also allow the audience to be even more communal, because it's like it's it was built in that spirit, if that makes sense. It was built in the spirit of community, and because it was built in the spirit of community, now the work can be communal, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and now it can be received communally. Um, yeah, I would say collaboration is important, because there are always things that like as you're because it's your baby. So sometimes you're walking through the tunnel and you don't see what's on the left or the right, because you're just trying to get to that light at the end of the tunnel. And
Mhm.
it takes somebody who's on the back of you and the side of you to say, "Oh, you missed this thing back here, or you didn't see this thing over here, or step to your left when you need to step to your right, or step to your right when you know what I mean?" They're a guiding light, and they can push the work forward in a really really beautiful way, which just reassures me that I'm not just a crazy person in a room in my office listening to these characters, you know, because they be
Which,
talking.
which we have all enjoyed and gotten so much benefit from. So thank you for being in your crazy office, but also for bringing up the spirit of collaboration. I mean, I think many
Yeah.
people forget how powerful collaboration is,
Oh
and how
yeah.
faithful and how it needs to be treated as a faithful apparatus to the process, and how someone has to actually have 10 toes in to then
Yep.
begin to a bird like to imagine something else outside of it. I think a question that I said earlier that you did, because I asked two questions in one, but the question that I want to come back to is this a question around what do you hold as a cherished accomplishment when you think
Mm.
about when you think about where you've landed and to this point to today on May 4th, what's a cherished accomplishment and why?
Oh, that's so great. Um, I'm one of those people who like when I do things, I like tend to keep going. I'm like, let's keep moving. I'm not like a step and relish in a moment kind of a person. And so what I tend to hang on to are people and how the work has affected them. Like when people come up to me and they stop me in the street and they talk about Ain't No More, or they talk about Oh Happy Day, or they talk about the Miss Pat show. It's a it lets me know that I'm once again not just crazy in my office in a silo. You know what I mean? It lets me know that, oh no, it did a thing. And sometimes you have to reframe your idea of success around that, right? You have to reframe your idea of success is this helped this person leave this relationship. This helped this person realize a self-worth. This helped this person reclaim something, or push away something, or move through something. It's there's a because I feel like those are soul ties in a way. Like we talk about soul ties in a relationship sense, in a close, I actually know you kind of way, but there are also artistic soul ties where you're tied to somebody you may never meet. but what you offered gave them something. So therefore, you are tied. There was a deposit made within their box, right? And I think that that is so beautiful, and I think that that lives beyond this plane. I think it's something that goes on to live even beyond our bodies being in the ground 6 feet under, or burned to a crisp in an urn. Like it's something that exists. It is a tangible thing that is beyond the earth. And so it's like it's a gift when somebody comes up to me and reminds me of an artistic soul tie and says that this thing did something for me. This thing changed me. This thing made me think about this differently. This thing made me ask this of myself or ask this of my loved one. Um, that is accomplishment.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
what's so lovely about what you're uplifting about this idea of soul tie, and I love it as a concept, and I love it as an artistic soul tie, right? And how when we see work and when we reflect on work, it already tethers us as our as
Yeah.
a soul tie. Is this notion of like, one of the main principles of National Black Theater has always been about care. And about how do we center care in a creative process, and how we center care for our community, not even creative process, but our community at large and for our community. Why we do morning affirmations, why we do holistic producing, why we approach work just in generally the way that we do. And during a staff retreat, something that came up in like looking at that was that the care is really equated to the embodiment of care, and how we can do it as humans is done in spiritual practices. And like the way of testimony, when you say the soul ties, those are testimonies and testimonials. And that is someone depositing a spiritual practice of like pouring in so that you have an overflow.
Right.
That you can have overflow, yet also slowing you down to the metric that you need to in this one moment, right? Like
hello.
No, slowing you down just enough.
Listen.
Just enough.
And listen, I be needing it because I am so like boom, boom, boom. Let's go. That when somebody takes a second to like look me in the eyes and say that this thing did this for me, it forces me to be like, Ashe. Just Ashe.
Because that one breath that you just did, that one breath that you just gave is a breath that actually will awaken many more. It's that breath that is the breath that will allow for the affirmment of your next success. It actually has already summoned your next success. And like that is something that people should just know, that we are molecularly structured as a frequency. You are a crystal of your own design and majesty. And that when you slow yourself down, just so that what you just did, right? And you took that singular breath, you summoned in chaos into the body, and you matured it into possibility that turned into exhale. And that if there's anything that this world is asking us to do in this moment, and I, it's my soapbox that I love to talk about, is to really figure out how to guide chaos, which is just energy, into what is possible.
Oh, Shanta, Hakuna Matata. You're not about to play with me today.
But that's all.
But it's so true. It's so true, especially in terms of like, we are here for this very specific moment in time, which feels like hell for a very specific reason. Yes. To harness the chaos.
Yes. And if we do our work as we are doing right now, you and I, right? And if someone else who takes on that baton does it, great. But if just you and I do it, the world is brighter. Time is possible.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need that. What it does need, it only needs the commitment of some and the mighty imagining of some to then build the cup, the bowl, the utopia that we deserve.
Yep. Even when you think about like actual structures, any kind of structure of anything, whether it be a bridge, whether it be a building, whether it be whatever it is, it only took a very specific amount of people to make this thing erect, make this thing live, that now everybody gets to cross over, everybody gets to walk around, everybody gets to walk through. But it just took those few people to erect the thing in the earth. Yeah.
And what does it mean to own your participation in that part? Because I think sometimes we get lost in the space because of capitalism and because of Western capitalism, and in terms of in which you were talking about earlier, this consciousness of whiteness, right, which is
Yeah.
a construct,
Right.
that all those mechanisms eat at our ability of feeling worthy, or our ability to feel like we have a piece of that pie.
Mhm.
Thinking about the work that you've done, especially with Miss Pat, and seeing those videos of the teams on Miss Pat, like it's so beautiful to witness how people talk about your leadership. Do you mind talking about leadership and leadership in space, and like thinking about this what we just talked about, pieces of a pie that create
Yeah.
a possibility,
Yeah.
singular? It's almost deconstructed in its notion of hierarchy, right? If we can
Yep.
really start to understand that it's not a ladder that is up, but a ladder that is this way. And yes, people have different parts of that ladder they are responsible for, but
Yep.
it's not this top-down methodology. That actually is a like the deconstruction of it is more healthier than the hierarchy of it. Do you mind to speak?
Yep. No, absolutely. It goes back to the collective and collaboration, right? I'm very much a leader who does not have a respect to persons. Like, one person does not have more respect for me than the person who's taking out the trash or cleaning the toilets. We're all in this together. And one of the things that I love to do whenever we are about to start a season is I circle everybody up and I talk about the messages that I received while we weren't working. And the messages that I usually receive were or people telling me they were in the hospital, and that was the show that they would watch to make them forget about what they were feeling and what they were going through, or that was the show that saved their life, or this episode did this, or this episode taught them that, or gave them the language for this. And I tell them all, I say, as much as it seems like all you do is take out the trash or hold the boom mic or build these sets or paint this wall or write this line, as much as it seems as simple as that, you are also healers, because people are telling us what we are doing for them. And we could not do this thing without each and every single piece of this web. And so as you walk around this set, you have to believe yourself to be a healer in everything that you do. And I think that that is when people understand the weight of any kind of storytelling, but especially like television too, because like you're creating something that not only will live forever captured on camera, but also it's going to be seen by millions and millions of people. So what is the energy that you're giving out to those millions and millions of people?
Absolutely.
However, it's you can feel it in how it's made. It's like if you want people to receive a thing, you have to make it with that same intention. You have to make it with the same intention of love and care and thoughtfulness and laughter and joy. Like, you have to make it with that. Otherwise, the bread ain't gonna taste right, you know? And so
Mm,
as a leader, that's something that is important to me in everything that I do, whether it's stage, whether it's film, whether it's TV. It's recognizing what we are putting out into the world and acting as if we carry it, because we do.
Ashe.
You know?
Thinking about the things that we carry, and we're about to
Yeah.
wrap. We're going to wrap up soon, but thinking about things
Yes.
we carry, is what's on the horizon. What's the future like for Jordan? What are the things that are in your hopper? What are the things that you're? What are the things that we can anticipate seeing happening? What do you want this industry to ultimately become, and how do you want to participate inside of it?
Yeah, there's so much that I'm looking forward to doing. Working on a new play that I'm really, really excited about. Really excited about. And then I also just finished up a project that I'm really excited about with Kara Young. Yes, we're doing a YouTube series together. And yes, and it's called The People Police, and it's basically about these two friends who create a police alternative in their neighborhood. So people call them when they don't feel safe enough to call the real
That's what
police.
I'm talking about. That's
And
what I'm
it's
talking about. Yes, bring us our
yes,
own. Yes.
yes, it's me and Kara just in these wacky ass situations. So it's a
I'm
lot of
excited.
fun.
I'm excited.
Yes,
When does
yes,
that
I
drop?
can't wait. This month it'll be out this month.
All right. We
Yeah,
looking forward to it. We gonna be
yes, yes,
glued. Give us all the tea that we may need.
yes.
Additionally, just naming that for National Black Theater, June is Founders Month. And it's the month of our founder's birthday. So on June 18th,
Mm,
we will be celebrating our founder's birthday. Dr. Barbara Ann Tier uplifting her name, her legacy. And without her, there wouldn't be a National Black Theater and all of the wisdom that comes with her. When you think about, and you uplifted Dr. Tier earlier, but when you think about Dr. Barbara Ann Tier and thinking about us in her birthday month, what shows up for you? And I know you also did a report on National Black Theater. So like, what are the things that show up for you as I say that, and thinking about the moment that like we are also in Pride, but also this notion of celebrating Dr. Tier, celebrating National Black Theater, all those things.
Yeah. When I think about, first of all, I think about that smile. I think about that smile. I think about her beauty inside and out. I think about her willingness to leave doors open. I think about her willingness to build legacy. And it was so, you know how they always say you're not dreaming big enough if your dream only includes you? And she was an example of a dream that did not just include her, but included countless numbers of children and siblings and grandchildren and just legacy to shoot out into soul ties for people who she may never know. And I feel like she's definitely that for me, and we definitely have that tie. Where I know we would have had a good old time together. I know we would have had a good old time just laughing. Oh, we would have had a good old time. But I'm grateful for the parts of her that I do know, and I'm grateful for the legacy that I get to stand in and be a part of. I'm just so grateful, you know, for the work that you and Sade are doing, that just how y'all are carrying on that, like, and expanding it and just erecting it into a whole new building.
Yeah. Which we are going to give you a tour very soon, so you can.
Come on, I'm excited.
Now. We got to get you ready to be back home very soon.
Yes,
are there any last things that you want to share, reflecting on your roots, reflecting on National Black Theater, reflecting on your career that you want to share in this moment? Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
I think, yeah, just grateful for the idea of liberation, and grateful for spaces that and people that encourage authenticity. Because I feel like we're coming into a time, or we are in a time where, like you said, remembering is a radical act. And so is authenticity, because I feel like there's a fear around saying the thing and being the thing now. Even with the Miss Pat show, I mean, we did an episode that was surrounded around ICE that aired maybe like a week after Renee Cole Good got murdered.
Wow.
And it's an episode that I had to fight for months because it got pulled twice. The network pulled it twice. Yeah. And so in moments where we deal with that, where we're even having conversations about what we can and can't say about a leader or a president, remembering the power that our words have, remembering the power that gathering has, and remembering the power of being in the present and being present. Because we only get one.
That's right. That's right. No, those are great words to leave us on. I just want to say thank you so much, Jordan, for creating space to be a part of our Founder Month series, but also our season Alternative Learning Social Impact conversation series, reflection on our roots. We're deeply, deeply excited for everything that you do, Jordan. I hope you know that you definitely have a champion here at National Black Theater. I'm excited to support and figure out how we can help to uplift and be a home and container for all the brilliance that you'll do in the future. And I want to thank everyone who's listening for joining us for this conversation. I want to thank you for participating in it and writing in the chat. I want to say thank you for helping us celebrate our Founders Month. Dr. Barbara Ann Tier, our founder, her birthday is on June 18th. And also looking forward to seeing you in the next theatrical piece, or the next theatrical room, or the next digital room that we have at National Black Theater. There are ways in which to engage with us. You, the person listening right now, are the reason why we continue to do these kind of series. You're the reason why we keep on building that container for legacy. That's that creative, beautiful soul tie that Jordan was talking about. And we look forward to making many, many more memories with you. So just want to say, I hope everyone has a wonderful celebration of June, and we'll talk soon. Bye.